All right. I've said all right, so that means it's officially started now. We are reading Davy and Her Divine Play, looking at the divine as mother and enjoying that quite a bit, actually. She was the consort, I guess you would say, of Sri Ramakrishna and his first disciple, and responsible for the formation of the monastery and the uh, order of monks in its first year. She gave it all kinds of guidance and advice and wisdom, and brought it. Here comes Jyoti uh, to create really a beautiful element of service that really, I think she really encouraged that as she was recognized. And people didn't recognize her; they just thought she was a meek, noble woman, but always background, always very much keeping herself out of the limelight. When Thakur, when Ramakrishna passed away, and she got an opportunity because he had told her, "I'm going to need you to do these things, and to establish these things long after I'm gone. You will have to do most of the work." And of course, every woman rolls their eyes and says, "Well, that's always the case." But and so with Mother and Ramakrishna, but we much to her because the mood in the order, as a monk in the Ramakrishna order, there's a real sense of compassion and sweetness because of the presence of the Mother. She prayed early in the early days that God would feed the monk, that the monk would not have to know hunger. And so the order, we've always been very well fed. We've, very rarely in the history of the order has there been problems with food and whatnot. And there's just this notion, in every kitchen, every monastery, every dining room in the order, there's always a picture of the Divine Mother. At Bellarmont, it's a great big one that's been painted. It's up on the wall there. I sat there facing that for the whole month that I was at Bellarmont. For every meal, I'd sit down and face Mother on the beautiful paint. Who did it. It was lovely. And so the divine feminine really is coming into it. Vivekananda said that was one of the strongest needs of the West, was to experience God as mother for a while, that we had suffered enough under the tyranny of God the Father. And which is just a lovely thing, that they're not exclusive and they don't push each other out, just like parents. It's like there are times when you need your mother, and there are times when you want your father, right? And you get them both. And so now in the triad of incarnation, right, which I've come to it that way, that this time when God incarnated, he didn't just take one body, he took three. He took his body, Ramakrishna's body, he took Holy Mother's body, and he took Vivekananda's body. Look at all three of them. They are all outrageously holy and sacred people in their lives, and yet three completely different lives manifesting three completely different personalities, and yet each one of them taking it to a pinnacle of excellence. And I've enjoyed that so much, the richness of that relationship with the divine, uh, seeing all of those aspects, seeing what this divine love looks like when it's manifested through perfect maleness, the humility of Ramakrishna, the compassion of Ramakrishna, the strength and renunciation of Ramakrishna, his tiredness and his calm love for the devotees. And then what the same looks like when it comes through the perfect feminine, perfect female. You see Holy Mother with her immense compassion and her strength in providing for so many of her devotees, and her natural attachment, really, attachment to all of her children, seeing everyone as her very own like that, and really giving a deep and abiding meaning to that important function in the world. And then, of course, Vivekananda, just, what does this look like? Just shown, what does pure love look like? It's shining through sheer confidence, sheer strength, sheer determination, and absolute surrender. to the movements of the divine, with no question and no fear, how he just was willing to take up anything and to watch it happen, literally magic times where Mother just stand and things. Um, I'm thinking, of course, when he got lost, when he came for the Parliament of Religions, and he just didn't know where to go, and he had lost his papers and his invitation and everything, and had nothing, and decided just to sit down on the curb and just of all the curbs in Chicago that he could have sat on, he sits on the one in front of the house where the man who's organized the Parliament of Religions lives, and his wife sees him out the window sitting on the curb and comes out and asks him out of the blue, "Are you here for the Parliament?" And suddenly everything picks up and works fine again. There were times in my life where I would have been really amazed at that story, and now I see that that story is ordinary for anyone who's willing to put their trust in this, or to know the self, to know the God, to know God. So we're on the chapter called Sri Sharda Devi, the chapter called The Human Aspects of Mother. So we were looking at the divine aspects, the divinity of Holy Mother in the last chapter. This one is on her human aspects. And why do a chapter on that? Well, that's the whole point of the incarnation. The mother was the incarnation of God. And this being human is the whole point of the incarnation. It's the link between our deluded self and our real self. The self, the self, the divine mother, the incarnation between those two elements, and their affection in the manifestation of that divine love allows us to get an understanding of what we're dealing with, of why this is such a valuable part of life, to become to grow in our understanding of a divine love, which means a love that has no conditions to it, that's not metered out in pieces and quantities, but is just released in a constant, ever-present flow of a pure love. And it's the incarnation that translates that into a body mind and lives it, so that we understand the implications of it. We have a way of reaching the divine. Like I love what Mom said, that you can't with a gas, that God without form, difficult to develop a relationship and that trust as a devotional practitioner. And so this divine incarnation is really the marriage between that true self that's within us and the self that we think we are, the deluded self. And it's the bridge for crossing back to our real nature. It's because of that incarnation that we can trust grace, that we can learn to trust forgiveness, and not so much the trust and the grace and forgiveness of God, which of course is highly important. I'm not downplaying that, but really something that's more apropos to us in our condition is the grace and love of our own mind, so that we ourselves can forgive ourselves, so that we ourselves can lay down our faults and get up and try again, even though all the evidence is against us. Even though we look like fools, we fall for the same thing over and over and over and over again. And, it's because of this grace, it's because of this idea of an unconditioned love that we continue to get up and try again, that we continue to get up and go forward and to be undaunted by it. And the more you grow in it, the less you are daunted by it, because you see that it's falling away. You see that it's a small thing in the face of the love that God has. We see that in Girish Ghosh when he made that funny statement, "If I ever knew there was such a large hole to throw my sin in, I would have committed so much more." he's probably like, get away. I could just see Swami Prabhupada would have ever thought or looked at me if I had ever said something like that. So Girish is probably uniquely created to be able to say something like that in the face of God. So, Holy Mother's daily life. The greatness of a person can be ascertained through his or her small actions. It's true, especially those actions that happen when no one is around. right? It's like you know who you are when no one's watching. I've heard that said many times from the pulpit. And so this is our challenge, because that's also how someone defined earnestness to me. He says, you're earnest in the things that you choose to do when you have nothing else to do. Right? That's the test of earnestness. So here in day-to-day life, it's the small things, the way that she was just in regular being. In day-to-day life, everybody follows a routine. The mother also followed a routine. She got up early in the morning, and early means like 3:30 in the morning, bathed, cleaned her teeth with tooth powder, meditated, repeated her mantra, worshipped the master, had breakfast, cut vegetables, cooked food for her household, and served the devotees. When she was a little girl, she helped her mother with household work and cared for her four younger brothers. Swami Parameshwarananda tells us that as a girl, the mother bathed in the Amdar River. She carried puffed rice and fried eggplant or potatoes in a cloth with her, and after bathing, she shared them with her brothers like any other village girl. Imagining the mother seated under a tree on the bank of the Amodar River, eating puffed rice, is a scene for meditation. Indeed. Oh my God, just even thinking of that, I'm reminded of that day. After we took sannyas, all of 50 of the men in my batch that had taken their vows, we went hiking. We were hiking in the rice fields right next to the Amodar River there, where mother used to go and hang out. And we were going toward that big tree. There was a huge tree there, this big flat, the color of rice fields, you can't imagine that green. I mean, it is just, it is the most verdant, deep, rich, even green that just goes on as far as the eye can see. And and then in the middle of it, you just put a big tropical tree that's just got that huge umbrella top on it, just spread out, this giant tree. And we were all making our way there, and we were all having to walk on the berms between the rice paddies. So we were all walking at right angles. The path was going at right angles. And just watching, 50 sannyasins in their robes, their orange robes, blowing in the wind with a purpley sky in front of them, the sunset light just hitting them direct on, and the brightness of that orange against that rich green of a carpet there as they were walking in the wind and the blowing robes. It was one of those moments, I'm such, oh boy, I can hardly control myself when I see such beautiful things like that. I just like almost can't even breathe. And I just remember watching that happen, and then being amazed at the fact that I was there. I was like, what am I doing here? This is insane. How did my life ever end up like this? So yes. So there she is, sitting under a tree on the bank of the Amad River, eating puffed rice with her brothers. Her taking them out of her cloth and divvying them up with each of her younger brothers there, and sitting in this beautiful green carpet going on forever under one of these big tropical trees, and that beautiful river, which is down a little bit of not a canyon. It's not that deep, but it's just flowing right by. It is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing to think about. Fancy breakfast food was not available in Jairampati. When Holy Mother started to give initiation, she would buy jalebies or make halwa and serve it to the devil with puffed rice. In her old age, when she had lost a few teeth, she would put some puffed rice in the corner of a cloth and pound it with a pestle and make it into a powder so that she could eat it. Oh boy. I guess coming too. There was or electricity in Rambati during Holy Mother's time. The mother carried a water pitcher on her waist from the pond or river, like other women, and lit her house at night with oil lamps and kerosene lanterns. One can imagine Holy Mother meditating in her mud hut at night with the flickering flame of the oil lamps sending light dancing on the Master's foot. That takes me back to the days in the monastery when we would go up to Shanti Ashrama for a week, and there was no power up there. There was no water up there. There was no electricity or anything up there. And we would sit in that cabin, that very flimsy cabin. The wind could blow right through it when it would howl outside, and we would sit in there under kerosene lamps and read the gospel together around the table after a long day of work. Where Swami Vedananda would read the gospel to us all. Wow, beautiful. All the year round, Holy Mother used to wear a sari without a blouse or petticoat. She did not wear shoes. During the winter, she might put up a chadar, but she had no other warm clothing. Once in Uru house, at a devotee request, warm undershirt for days, but then she gave it away. She did not have an umbrella to protect herself from the scorching sun or the torrential rain in her primitive village. Observe days. Village people seldom celebrate birthdays, especially if there are several children in a family, but they observe the birthdays of avatars, gurus, and holy persons. In 1918, the devotees observed his birthday in Ud House, Ishanananda Nist. After I offered a flower at her feet, she blessed me by touching my head and said, "Now offer flowers on behalf of all the people of Jairambati and Kolpara ashramas." Tarak, Swami Nanda, could not from Bellarmat, so offer flowers on his behalf, and also on behalf of all my children, known and unknown. Then she fervently prayed, "Master, please look after the welfare in this life and the next. I am the mother of all. What more shall I say?" You see that heart? We've already seen this heart. I mean, just completely unfolding through this whole book. Her constant for her serving others. Here, her teaching, telling this Swami Ishananda, or Shivananda. Oh no, Ishananda. Yes, you just offered flowers to me, but now offer flowers for all of these other people as well. And put up prayers for all of my children, the ones that I know of and the ones that I don't know of. Just her heart ever expanding. It's like there was just no limit to her willingness to care, to her willingness to be concerned, and to reach out just beyond the horizons of her efforts. I mean, just just expanding that heart all the time. And she said, this is her fervent prayer. "Master, please look after their welfare in this life, all of her children, known and unknown." She's fervently praying for them. "Please look after their welfare in this life and the next. I am the mother of all. What more shall I say?" What else? What else can be prayed for? Swami Parameshwarananda recalled, once the mother was staying with Radhu at Kolpara. I expressed a desire to observe the master's birthday in Jairambati, and the mother approved of this. She gave me rupees for expenses. The celebration was done on a grand scale, and many people were fed. About the celebration later, Holy Mother remarked, "As long as I am alive, it is not necessary to go to excess." Another time in Jairambati, a devotee began to practice spiritual discipline vigorously. The mother told him, "You do not have to practice so many spiritual disciplines here. Eat, relax, and enjoy this place." Similarly, Jesus said, "Son, be of good cheer. Can the children of the bridal chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them?" Right? It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to do the austerities here. Enjoy. You see, and that is when we are with the mother, when we do our practice or with our ideal. It doesn't not only Holy Mother, but any of our ideals. That's our time. When you sit to do your meditation, that's not the austerity. That's your communion. That's your time with the beloved. And so relax into it, enjoy it, have some fun with it. Sit in that presence and enjoy the presence. Be yourself in the face of the closest friend you'll ever have. Be yourself in the presence of the greatest lover you'll ever have. Be yourself and enjoy in the presence of the greatest love that ever has been known. Just enjoy God. You do not have to practice so many spiritual disciplines here. Eat, relax, enjoy this place. In 1919, Holy Mother's birthday was observed in Jairambati. Sharananda sent a sari and a chadar to her from Calcutta. The mother put on the sari and worshipped the master, and then sat on her cot holding Radhu's child on her lap. The monks and the devotees offered flowers at her feet, and she blessed them, saying, I wholeheartedly pray to the master for the welfare of all of you. The monks, the devotees, the members of her brother's families, they all enjoyed the grand feast together. Traveling. Nowadays, many people go to Jairambati easily by car, bus, or train. In her early days, Holy traveled on foot. Later, she used various kinds of transport, such as bullock carts, palanquins, carriages, boats, steamers, and automobiles. One can visualize walking 4 miles from Jairambati to Daksheshwar, carrying a small bundle containing clothes, a towel, hard molasses, and some puffed rice in a small cloth bag. She bathed in roadside ponds, lakes, or rivers, and drank water from them. She would bring a few rupees to buy food along the way and to pay the ferryman as she crossed the 5 rivers between Jairambati and Dakshineshwar. The meadow of Telobelo is blessed by Holy Mother's feet. Every human mind is more or less curious. That is the basis of all education. Holy Mother was not a cloistered nun. She loved people and enjoyed visiting holy people and holy places. She went on pilgrimages to the North and South India. While living in Calcutta, she used the horse carriage of Nivedita's school on holidays to visit the museum, the zoo, the hog market, and the park, and she went to the botanical garden in Chitpur. She got down from her couch and saw these places of interest with great enthusiasm. Yes, you see, so this is the way. It's like Vivekananda was so clear about that, that religion is not about not enjoying the world. He says religion is teaching you how to enjoy the world so that you don't get caught in it. Right? So it just shows you how to go visit these things. Let the moment be what it is. Don't ask anything more of it. When it's time to leave a place, leave the place. Do not ask anything more of it. That's detachment. That's all. You know, when you move this thing, don't long for the previous thing. Be content where you are with what you're doing and what the Lord and the moment has given to you. Apply your nature to it, your Satchitananda. Create something beautiful. You know, every moment is an art project. Create something beautiful and give it back. Let it go. Don't try and remember it. Don't go of it. Don't let it go. Let it go. Let it go. That's a pop show that I haven't seen. No, some Ice Princess or something. Anyway. Joy and sorrow. Happiness and misery rotate on a cyclic order. No being is happy or always miserable. It seems that God offers the results of people's karma on an installment basis by giving suffering and happiness alternatively. Every human being laments when a loved one dies. When the master passed away, Holy Mother cried out, saying, Mother, O Kali, what have I done that you have departed, leaving me all alone in the world? However, accepted death as inevitable for a human being. No one can alter the decree of providence. Like other mortal beings, she cried when those close to her died. Her mother, her uncle, Yogananda and Premananda, she lamented the passing of Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishnananda, and her close relatives. She had an affectionate heart, and she cried of humanity. However, mother said that the master had placed a picture of bliss in her heart when she was in Dakshineshwar. She might have been tossed by the pairs of opposites, happiness and misery, like other human beings, but a current of bliss always flowed within her. Sometimes she was humorous and laughed heartily. Humor absorbs the shocks of life, eases tense situations and family, and brings us to gloomy faces. Yeah, that's let me just interject here. I think that one of the lessons in my spiritual life is, as a practice, laughter is one of the most important ones. There's, I don't think it's accidental, and it's just not a matter of good personalities and fun that the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is full with that phrase, everyone laughed. The room was laughing. People were filled with laughter. The young boys were laughing. The devotees were laughing. They're always, always laughing in the presence of Ramakrishna. And that is very important. And, it's something that I one time had read that in the gospel. And I just sat there and I thought, have I ever laughed in my practice? Have I ever been in prayer and laughed, or just enjoyed the presence like that? And I really felt like I probably had a few times, but it had never been nearly enough. And so I really changed that, and I began to practice humor with God in my prayers. I began to add little spicy things to it and goofy things to it, because Thakur did that. He said he used to tell dirty jokes to the young men, and some of the Orthodox or devotees challenged him on it. Said, why do you talk like that to those young men? And he smiled and he said, "Oh, see, sometimes you have to give fish soup." Right? You have to just throw in the spice every now and then. It's like just this wonderful casualness of life. It was a life of discipline, but there was a casual relaxation amongst it. And so I'm not saying to be disrespectful or flippant in our practice, but to really open up your permission in yourself to enjoy God as friend or lover, just to enjoy that casualness of God, the casualness of his perfection, the casualness of his infinite love, relaxation in his absolute strength, to start enjoying that and letting yourself chuckle, letting yourself, especially your faults, especially your faults. When you see yourself messing up, then you're going to pray, but, instead of having a long face, just be like, there he was. Do you see that? You leave that monster on his own for 10 seconds and look at the trouble he's in. It's just, what am I going to do? this is what I am when I get away from you, right? And so we chuckle, we turn around, and we go back and get going again, starting up again. Sometimes humorous and laughed heartily. Humor absorbs the shocks of life. It eases the tense situations of family friction and brings a smile to gloomy faces. Once in Jairambati, Shurabala, who was mentally unbalanced, wanted to play cards. She asked Holy Mother to play with her. Holy Mother and Ashu took one side, and Surabala and Nalini took the other. Holy Mother and Ashu won 6 times. Shurabala became upset and threw down the cards and blurted out, "Sister-in-law, you will always win, and we shall always lose. I won't play any more." Holy Mother replied, "We are sattvic and follow the spiritual path, so we must win." Shurabala made a sound of disgust and left. The mother laughed. Once the mother was suffering from malaria and got the doctor and the doctor prescribed sago for her diet. After drinking the tasteless sago, the mother addressed her disciples, "Hello, it seems you have devotion for my prasad today." Nobody her unspiced sago. Another day, the mother was seated on a cot in Prasana's room with her feet dangling. Prakash Maharaj, a monk, offered flowers at her feet and bowed down. He prayed, "Mother, please don't make me wander around anymore in my spiritual journey." She replied, "My son, all these years you forgot me and moved around. Should I not now make you wander a little?" Swami Gaurishwarananda recalled, once a Swami brought a huge belt from Varanasi to Jairambati for the mother. She kept it under her cot. One day she was cutting vegetables on the veranda of Nalini's room, and I was cutting them along with her. When the vegetables were cut, she asked me to fetch the bell. I had never seen such a huge bell before. This is the bell fruit from the bell tree. I had never seen such a huge bell before, and thinking it to be a pumpkin, I went back to say that there was no bell fruit under the cot. The mother said, I put it there myself. Where could it go? Look carefully. I went back and checked the place and reported. Sounds so much like something I would do. I went back and I checked the place and reported, no, mother, there's no bell there. Then she asked, what is there? A pumpkin, I replied. She laughed and said, well, bring the pumpkin here. As soon as I picked it up, I realized that it was, in fact, a bell. Seeing me with the bell, the mother laughed heartily.
Is that the jackfruit, Swamiji?
Oh, the bell fruit? I think it's a big, round, green thing, I think. Just ask Google. Ask Siri. She'll
Because
show you.
I saw a lot of jackfruit in Jairambati this time, last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No, the jackfruit is huge. This is round. This is bale. Bale fruit.
Bale
Yeah.
fruit.
BEL.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Once in Odon House, he said to the Holy Mother, please set my mind right. I have no peace of mind. I don't want to live anymore. I shall leave everything to you in my will. After my death, you dispose of everything according to your wishes. Holy Mother laughed and asked, when are you going to die? Then she gravely said, you had better go home quietly. Don't create mischief in this holy place. Then she continued, if your mind is free from restless spiritual atmosphere, monks and devotees, then what do you want? What a wonderful life you have. You have no trouble or responsibility here. You have made the best of this life. You do not realize the value of this place now, but you will learn it when I depart. You have a sinful mind, and that is why you have no peace. Indeed. Boy, that is true. You have a sinful mind, and that is why you have no peace. You are leading a lazy life, and you do not do any work. That is the reason your brain is open. Can't you think good thought? Oh, what an impure mind you have. Wow. Fear and anger. Although Holy Mother was a divine being, she experienced fear like an ordinary person. Holy Mother was afraid of ghosts, and one night in Ud Bodan house, she asked one of her disciples, are you afraid of ghosts? We are children of the Divine Mother, he replied. What can they do to us? But I'm afraid of ghosts, said Holy Mother. Afraid of ghosts, Holy Mother. Yes, I know, the disciple responded. You are frightened by your own goblins and to her relatives. Holy Mother laughed and said, you are right, my child. They're terrible. They shrivel up my innards and make them stick to my belly. Holy Mother was also afraid of having surgery. While she was in Puri, she had an abscess on her foot, which the doctor lanced quickly without warning her. From then on, she avoided allopathic doctors and surgeons. Once in Ud Bodan house, she was suffering from a toothache, and Sharadananda brought a dentist to extract her tooth. Holy Mother hid when the dentist arrived. Golab Ma said to Sharadananda, the mother is afraid of any kind of surgery. Her system is not like ours. Is there no medicine to get rid of a toothache? Sharadananda replied, if the fearless mother is afraid, what can I do? Medicine cannot stop this kind of pain. I brought the dentist so that she would not have to suffer for long. We should not do the mother does want it, said Golab Ma. Finally, Sharadananda apologized at the dentist, saying that they could not find Holy Mother. That's you just read these charming things about Mother. It's like you think, I mean, she's an incarnation. And so you've got this idea, oh, she must be so stoic and so strong and so all of that. And yet here she's running and hiding from the dentist and not coming out, for that fear. She was a village girl, but that's the thing that makes it amazing to what she became. She had this amazing cosmopolitan attitude that she would not have been able to get from anywhere in the life that she had grown up in, small village India. She accepted Nivedita, these foreigners, who had no caste. She accepted Muslims, and fed them and cleaned up their dishes after them. She had just no boundaries like that. She was just so loving and so open and so accepting. And yet she was just a village girl. She didn't pick up any of the local prejudices, the local attitudes about caste and nationalities. You just see that somehow, she had to be divine to be able to transcend literally her entire upbringing, and to find such a freedom and such a vastness of thought, and such a faith, such a kindness. The whole house was thoroughly searched again for the hiding mother. Finally, someone found Holy Mother lying underneath her cot, covered with a chudder. Her toothache slowly subsided, by the way. Sharala, later Bharatiprana, described the mother's fear of surgery. Oh, if anyone had any cut or wound, the mother would apply a coating of clay from Mother Simhavahini's temple. Once Yoganma had an abscess, and the mother applied that clay to it. After some days, when she heard that the wound needed surgery, she was concerned. She exclaimed, "Oh, Yogan, I hear the doctor is going to cut your abscess. What will happen? It is strange that Simhavahini's clay did not cure it. My lord, what will happen? Is surgery necessary?" It was unbearable for the mother to see other people in pain. During Yoganma's operation, the mother went to the shrine and began to repeat her mantra. When the surgery was over, I gave the news to the mother that she was relieved. And she was relieved. She asked, "Is it done? Is Yogan well? Did she suffer from pain?" Then she went to Yoganma, caressed her head, and inquired, "Is it too painful, my dear? How are you now?" The mother was very angry when Bankura police arrested a young woman named Sindhubala, who was pregnant, considering her to be a political suspect. On another occasion, Holy Mother lost her temper when she saw from the balcony of Udbodhan that a man was beating and kicking his wife in the slum area. Jewelry and fancy clothes, they may enhance a young woman's beauty temporarily, but modesty and purity keep her beauty alive forever. Holy Mother was the embodiment of this modesty. According to the custom for conservative Hindu and Muslim Indian women at the time, she wore a veil over her face in front of most male disciples and visitors, even the master's disciples. Swami Ishanananda recalled, sometime in the spring of 1919, the mother was at Jairambati. One noon, Radu, Maku, and Nalini were talking boisterously and acting shamelessly. The mother said to her nieces, "What are you doing? Don't you have any sense of decency and respect? Women should not behave immodestly. They need to be careful in their bearing and maintain self-respect. There is a saying, if a woman's cloth is above her knees, she is as good as naked, though she is wearing a sari 5 yards long." Women must maintain their modesty and dignity. Then one of the nieces spoke out, "Aunt, the master said one does not succeed so long as one has these three, shame, hatred, and fear." Immediately the mother said, "No, that is not so. The master said that those who were intoxicated with God said that to those who were intoxicated with God. I say that it is necessary to have the sense of shame, hatred, and fear, especially for women." Well, that's an interesting point there. We'll stop there for the day and we'll pick up.
So what was the last sentence, Swamiji? The